Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
You're going to have to excuse me if my voice is a little rough in this podcast. I feel like I just ran a marathon. All I did was watch a 4-hour, 10-minute baseball game with 17 different pitchers. On this first day of October, it was the final game of 2020 at the Coliseum. No matter the result, it was going to be the last game. But the A's won a playoff series for the first time since 2006. And just to run you through the history of all the weight on our shoulders, let me help you realize why this feels so good right now. 2006, after sweeping the Twins in the ALDS, the Oakland A's went to the ALCS. They got swept by the Tigers. 2012 and 13, it was a long time before they even had another playoff chance. They got Verlandered in back-to-back years by those same Tigers. In 2014, it was that wild card game against the Royals, multiple lead changes, extra innings. 2018, it was the Yankees in New York. That one, Oakland never had a chance. 2019, it was the Rays in the wild card game. And even this year in 2020, if this were a one-game wild card situation, the A's would have been done in less than magnificent form. I mean, it was just going to be over. The A's were getting Giolito'd, kind of like they got Verlandered. But it turns out this was a best-of-3 series instead. And even today, in this game, facing elimination after 3 innings, the A's were down 3-0. What a comeback. What an effort. Whew, what a feeling right now to get this done. And to also realize, look, there's a lot left ahead. This is a long month of October. The playoffs are going to come fast as soon as they start. I know there's a little bit of a break right now, but as soon as they get rolling, there's not going to be much time off. So you definitely hope this is just the beginning, but it is kind of nice to break that ice and not have to worry about what people say historically the A's have done. So yeah, crazy game, 4 hours, 10 minutes. The White Sox used 9 pitchers. The A's used 8 different arms. And going back to the choice to have Mike Fiers start, I still like it. I know he only went 1 2/3. He did allow a run. Look, the way the rest of the game went, totally fine with that. Somebody had to bear the weight of that start. I'm glad he got that chance, and I'm glad after not getting the opportunity in 2018 and 2019, he got the stage. And you know what? It falls in line with a Mike Fiers start. In the regular season, he had 11 starts. The A's won 8 of those games. So yeah, he pitched in a game that the A's won. That's pretty normal. On the White Sox side, Tim Anderson, my goodness, what a rough ending to the regular season. He was hitting .091 across his last 8 games. And as a leadoff hitter and a shortstop, I mean, he might have been Chicago's most important player throughout this series. He had a 9-hit series against the Oakland A's. And especially as that leadoff guy, he just always was making it difficult, always making it interesting for Chicago, and then letting the middle of his lineup, have their chances. So big shouts out to Tim Anderson. I know he's a talker. I know he's very flamboyant, but I got to say, the dude definitely backed it up in this series individually. We also saw Ramon Laureano have another in-game interview. This is the second time in this series we saw it. Mark Canha did it in Game 2, and I said it on social media. I'm a TV guy. I'm a production guy. I'm an access guy. I love to see behind the scenes. I love translating that to the viewers, but I don't think the playoffs are the place and time for this. I know it's a national audience. I know it's the opportunity to showcase. I know it's for the fans, and I know Ramon agreed, and I know Mark Canha agreed. They both did great jobs. It's just that when the first 3 balls were hit Laureano's way, as soon as he puts the mic on, and yeah, I kind of like the fact he dropped an F-bomb on the very first one. You kind of get what you pay for, right? I don't know. I hope that doesn't continue, or I hope if it does continue, like let's say in the next round, do it with some Astros players, not just the A's because they say yes. It makes the fans uncomfortable. I know a lot of fellow players don't even realize it's happening. The managers may not even realize it's happening. I don't know in playoff games if it translates the way that the fans watching really want to see it. All right, switching back to the game. Frankie Montas, like a lot of the different A's relievers, he looked sharp, but especially because he's obviously normally a starter, pitching on shorter rest than normal. I think he threw 113 pitches on Sunday. I'm just glad to see him perform well in a different role. Glad to see him contribute. On the other side, Chicago's bullpen, wow, they were busy. And it kind of gives you the sense, right? When you think about having the all hands on deck option, if their skipper Rick Renteria might have overmanaged a little bit. And I realized when the injury to Garrett Crochet happened, I mean, he was the second pitcher in the game. He was throwing like 98 and only faced 2 batters. I guess fortunately for the A's, he had a lot of success. I think 2 strikeouts with them. And I realized that, started the wheel turning early for the White Sox. But yeah, maybe when you start getting into a bullpen game and you literally use almost all of your arms, maybe there's a bad side to that. Instead of doing the things that got your team this far, you never have a game like that in a regular season. So there was that to think about. The A's runs, they scored all 6 of their runs that they needed in the 4th and 5th innings. What's crazy about it took only 3 hits to generate those 6 runs. And all of those 6 runs happened in 2-out situations. So the Chicago walks were absolutely devastating. Give credit to Mark Canha, Matt Olson, patient at bats, realizing the situation, getting what they were given, and turning base runners into runs. And also you got to credit Sean Murphy, who drove in the first 2 Oakland runs, huge 2-run homer. And also this about Sean Murphy. This is his first full season of Major League Baseball. It is nothing full. There's nothing full about it with 60 games. And there's nothing normal about it. But I just love to hear what pitchers say about him, working with him. I really like the September he had with the bat. And by the way, full credit to Jonah Heim, too, his backup, who we didn't see a lot of. We didn't see him in this playoff series. But we also know he is fully capable, too, as a switch hitter, as a game manager. But I want to point out how set the Oakland A's are right now from a catching perspective and how impressive Sean Murphy has been. The more you see of him, the more you like him. And Stu and I were talking on Post Game Live. I made the reference to Terry Steinbach. That's not the first time. That's kind of a go-to that I keep reaching in the bin for. But I really feel like he is this generation's Terry Steinbach, and that is a really, really high compliment. We know what Steiny meant to all those championship teams. Also want to talk about Tommy La Stella. I mean, not just his contributions in this series offensively, always being a threat, but the catch he made to end the 5th inning, robbing Adam Engel. I mean, over his back, Willie Mays style, not just that, he might have bobbled it 2 or 3 times before finally snagging it out of midair, putting it in his glove, tumbling, and making the out and the catch official. It was impressive to say the least. What would the A's have done if they didn't have a Tommy La Stella down the stretch, especially with the injuries to Chad Pinder and Matt Chapman? How about Matt Olson? He also made a tremendous play to rob Luis Robert in the 7th inning in foul ground. Also the heads-up play. I think it was Abreu? Yeah, Abreu was tagging up. So he made the throw. I mean, Abreu still tagged up to 3rd, but the heads-up ability to make sure it wasn't any more than that. Defense was huge. The A's did make an error in this game. It was the E6 throwing error by Marcus. So they weren't flawless like they had been, but a really solid series defensively for the Oakland A's. And how about redemption for Liam Hendriks? We know in Game 2, he was tasked with trying to get a 6-out save, and he hadn't pitched since Saturday, and Bob Melvin wanted to use him, wanted to just go right from Bassett to Hendriks, from your starter to your closer. And Hendriks was not able to finish the game, did give up a couple runs, and just it got a lot more interesting. But what's crazy, he did record 5 outs yesterday, all via the strikeout. He recorded 3 more outs today, closed the game out, closed the series out, all via strikeout. Total redemption. I love stories like that. Honestly, redemption is what Liam Hendriks is all about. 2018, the A's DFA'd him. 2019, he was an all-star. 2020, he's one of the best closers in the game. Huge part of the Oakland A's. And then how about this thought on Matt Chapman right now? We know how frustrated Chappie must be. He's a competitor, but he loves this team. He loves the group. I just wonder where he's at right now and what he's thinking right now. And yeah, we're definitely going to try and get him associated with our pre- and post-game live coverage for the ALDS. I would love to hear from him, hear his sentiments, pass it along, let you, the fans, hear from Chappie. But imagine his reaction as the A's took over today's game and won it. I would have loved to have seen it. All right, so looking ahead, the A's are now going to face the Astros in the ALDS. I guarantee I'm going to do a whole separate podcast and maybe even a YouTube video on this later, so I'm going to make this short for now. We'll expand more when I have a little bit more time to think about it and pan this out. But what we already know, the A's were 7-3 against Houston in the regular season, and 2 of those losses came on the very same day in a doubleheader. So of those 3 losses, 1 or 2 of them came in one fell swoop of a day that just wasn't very good. Outside of that, the A's were 7-1 against Houston. And then there's also this, who's going to start round 2? And Sean Manaea didn't get a chance in round 1. Now, it's not to say that that's a knock on Manaea. It's just that Chicago is that good against left-handed pitching. But Sean Manaea famously threw one of the most efficient games in A's franchise history. The last time he saw Houston, he went 7 innings, allowed just 2 hits, no runs, on 61 pitches. Man, that's good to have that confidence. That's good to have that tool in your shed. As the A's are going to take on Houston in Los Angeles. I know that sounds weird, at Dodger Stadium on Monday. And also for other starting options, look, Chris Bassett could be there. He'll be on time, obviously, for Game 2 if that's how it works out. Jesus Luzardo would work out as well. So the A's are going to get these rare 3 days off. Actually, Houston's going to get 4 days off in total because they knocked out the Twins in just 2 games. This is rare. Like I said, after this little break, we're not really going to have one the rest of the playoffs. It's rare to have these days, but I think it's critical for the A's. It's important to get this time, make the most of it. Soak this in, at least for tonight, maybe even for tomorrow. Get back to workouts in LA over the weekend, and then get back to work on Monday. So really happy for all you A's fans who have endured a lot of hard times. Again, I'm not saying this is the end by any means. Don't celebrate like it's the end, but definitely recognize this accomplishment. We know how many times it didn't go this way. So to soak this in and to get ready for baseball again on Monday. We're going to have pregame live for you 30 minutes before first pitch. I don't know what time that's going to be, but throughout the playoffs, pre- and postgame live is going to be on NBC Sports California. I will see you then. Again, like I said, I'll also have another podcast and a YouTube video coming out soon previewing the ALDS against Houston.